Okay, Allison, what kind of training do you give to the non-SEO teams?
Everybody gets some basic 101 training. I think it's important that the playing field gets leveled where everyone just sort of has a good foundation. Then beyond that, it depends on what their particular discipline is. So the folks in marketing might get a different modified version of some training than the IT people would versus the content folks or the design people. Even the people that are higher up the food chain than that, they should also have, at minimum, the foundation on that too, because again, they're the ones that are setting the budget, and they are the drivers for that. And I've said this before in other presentations. I am not a huge fan of brown bag lunches. I know other people are, but I feel pretty strongly that SEO has as much place at the table as any other discipline, and so it should not be sort of stuffed in during lunch when everybody else's important meetings are happening before and after lunch. It has equal value, so that's why I'm not crazy about brown bags.
Yeah, so that's where we kind of differ, but I do see your point where your critical training and messaging needs to be a more formalized, structured, prioritized time in the calendar, whereas brown bags are better for maybe some deep dive, very specific pinpointed topics, or to give an SEO update, like here's where we're at now, is where I often recommend something like that. But it's good perspective to see the two, and you're spot on that it has to be prioritized, and brown bags tend to be the things that are optional.
They're ancillary. Now, if you're in an organization where everybody does brown bags, absolutely, then get on the list and make sure you're in there with everyone else. I also do something, or used to do something, where I had SEO hours.
Yes, I did that too.
So I would send an email out to everyone in the group there saying office hours are open now, from 1 to 2 o'clock or whatever. And I a lot of people didn't come, and I didn't expect them to. Every once in a while people would come, not even necessarily with questions, but more their opportunity to share, I've read this great article, or I heard this really interesting thing about SEO. And that's a really great place to find your champions. Because the ones that are coming to you, because they're interested and they kind of want to kind of geek out with you a little bit, now you know that you've got to champion that particular group, and you can go to them later. So I would say that it's almost kind of a sneaky way of getting SEO kind of infiltrated into the organization, because they're seeing emails every week saying SEO office hours are open, so they're it's sort of kind of getting into their psyche somewhere, and it gives the opportunity, obviously, for questions too, but for people to sort of connect with you.
Right. And I used to do the office hours at Yahoo, and we used to have people actually bring in projects, and we were reviewing wireframes and written documentation and stuff like that. So absolutely, office hours are a huge element of training, while simultaneously actually making an impact on the business day to day, on live projects that are happening right now. All right, well, hopefully you learned a few things. Brown bags on pinpointed things, not your prioritized training. Train all of the different groups. I think you talked about doing them, specific sessions for each of the roles. And there was one more thing.
I forgot to. It was definitely high up the food chain for
high
training.
Up the food chain for training. So make sure your executives know the things that they need to know about SEO. Oh, and the critical drivers. Put those in your monthly dashboards.